Well, this thing... Okay, I think it's working. Okay, so on today's episode of Bad Bow Reviews, I have been lent the Paragon Con made by Robert... I'm not even gonna try to pronounce his last name, it's too hard. But like, Rob from Paragon Bows. This model is 60 pounds at 28 inches with a max draw length of 31 inches. It has an unstrung contour length of 54.5 inches, a strung length of 46 inches, and it has a minimum arrow weight of 10 GPP. When strung, this thing has kind of big as you can see, right? So let's go see what else we can find in this bow. First things first, this is a bow that is made up of layers of, it's a laminate, right? So it's got layers of fiberglass, wood, and fiberglass. Note that it does not have any layers of carbon. I'm gonna make a point about this later on, but yeah. So let's start with measurable facts. This thing has big CS. Like, these are like they're not like Manchu rectangle seals, but they're pretty big. And it's pretty thick seal. So let's look at this. This is a comparison of the seals of the Paragon Con, the Alimo Banhuang, the Mariner Han Win 3, and the Yuan Ming. We can very clearly see that this is the thickest seal of them. And so let's take a measurement of this. If we measure it, we find that this has a measurement of 18.7-ish millimeters. The Danfeng is 13.4 millimeters. The Mariner is 12.9. And the Yuan is 10.5. So it's pretty clear that this thing has chunky seals. Now let's also look at the width of the seal. The width of the seal is 36.3 millimeters. Danfeng's are 14.5. You know, it's close enough. 14.5. The thingy's a little blurry, but whatever. Mariner Han Win's is 20.1 millimeters, and the Yuan Ming's is 22.3 millimeters. So, the Con seals are the biggest seals. They're thicker and wider than any of the seals for any of these other three bows that I have here. But that's not to say that they're large throughout. Like, we can kind of see that, like, it does see on this side view over here that, like, it does kind of taper. This part over here is actually a trapezoid. I'll show that in a later picture. So it does come to, like, a fairly small knock over here, which in this overall shape, I think, is because it's similar to that of a caisson in a Turkish boat. But the one thing that I find kind of odd on this is that there's this little triangular piece over here. It's kind of not doing anything. It looks cool. I think that it's just supposed to be there to imitate the look of a knee or a brain on a horn bow. Yeah, so now let's look at this from a different angle. So, the seals from the front and from the back. You can also kind of see that, like, that triangle piece that I talked about. The grain is really clear on this. It looks cool. But anyways, we're here for numbers. We see that this thing here narrows a lot. So it goes from limb to caisson-like thing, trapezoid, right? So it does actually, like, narrow along here, and it narrows a lot. And it bulges back out around the knock before we actually get to the knock. Yeah, okay, so moving up the bow, we go from seal to limb. The limb on this bow is 40 millimeters wide and I think about like 6 millimeters thick. There's not much to say about the limbs. They're pretty standard lamb bow limbs. It's black fiberglass in this model. But there is one thing that's kind of nice. It's kind of a nice touch is that the belly side is rounded off. I think that's pretty neat. It looks pretty cool. It doesn't show up very well until you're on camera, but it looks better in real life. Let's move on to the handle. The handle is an egg-shaped grip, much like that of a Turkish bow. The grip is 40.9 millimeters from front over here to the back over here, and 28.3 millimeters side to side going through the screen. You know, like I can't show it here, but anyways, yeah. So the arrow pass is ray skin with a thickness of 21.8 millimeters, which puts it at a pretty thin arrow pass. I think that the average is about like 24-ish, 25 around there. So this is like this. It's thinner than average. When you start the finished arrow pass, it is definitely thinner than average. Okay, so now here's an unstrung comparison of the Khan next to the Yuan Ming, next to the Mariner Han Wind 3, next to the Valuable Dan Huang. Instead, we can very clearly see that the Khan has the largest handle, because it's the only one here with an egg-shaped handle. It also has the thickest CS. And note that the limbs over here are pretty straight. If we look at the Yuan Ming, right, we can see that like there's some like deflex over here, and there's some more reflex over here. On this, there's just a little bit of deflex, The Han Wind is pretty much just straight, and the same thing with the Ben Han. But also note that around the handle area, the Khan actually has the most reflex. Just looking at it, I'm not actually sure. I didn't come up with a way to measure that, so that's not actually a measurement on the website. Okay, so now let's look at our strum profiles. Again, the Khan is very clearly the shortest one with the biggest handle, and we can kind of go and see that like the limb over here curves out. This thing over here curves out a little. Maybe it's just me, but it looks like it curves out. Okay. So now, this is what we're all here for, right? The draw force curve for this bow. So the draw force curve for this bow, it is almost exactly as it is marked. This is 27 inches from the belly. So that's about 28 inches from the back, 60 pounds. Basically what it says on the box. So we see that at 32 inches from the back or 31 inches from the belly, the absolute max draw weight for this bow, do not draw past this length. It is 82 pounds, which is pretty close to what it's marked at. And so we see that there's about a 20-pound jump across 5 inches, so about 4 pounds per inch after 28 inches. Which isn't bad. This is a pretty heavy bow, so like about 4 pounds per inch isn't unexpected. So now if we look at the derivative of the draw force curve, if we look at the change in draw weight per inch expressed as a percentage of the draw weight, we find that this bow doesn't actually pass. So usually people perceive stacking at that 5.5% increase per inch. This bow doesn't pass that. It does pass 29 inches, which like this is like a 29 inches from the belly, so like 3 inches from the back. And this thing has like a max draw length of 32 inches from the back. So when Rom says that this thing is like 32 inches max draw, he means that this is 32 inches max draw. It's not going to be comfortable past that. But this is like it doesn't start stacking until it's pretty close to the end, which is pretty good. Yeah, no early stacking on this one. One thing to note here is that there is actually a longbow point at 29 inches. So that means that you could theoretically, if you were to construct a longbow with this is a bow whose draw force curve is a straight line between the first and last points on here, right? Between the first point and the point at x equals 29. That longbow would store more energy than this bow. So if your draw length is longer than 29 inches, you could get more energy out of you could theoretically get more energy out of a longbow with this poundage. But I digress, so that's just a theory. But anyways, so let's go and compare this to other bows. So This was actually completely by accident. I was just looking for like a bow to compare this to, and I thought, hey, I have like an 80-pound Monarch in this database, so take a look at that. And so I am very pleasantly surprised. The con has an almost identical draw force curve to that of a Daylight Monarch. It's just been shifted down a few pounds. This is something that I've only ever seen happen with Mariners Min Moons. Other than that, I have not seen any other bows that have matched up in draw force curve so closely. But so what this curve means is that if you like KTBs, the con is going to feel quite similar to a KTB, at least with respect to the draw force curve. But if you don't like KTB draw force curves, this is not the bow for you. You know, it's a short stacky bow, so you know, it is what it is. Now, one thing to note is that I couldn't get access to the FPS testing machine, so I was not able to properly fully FPS test this bow for this review. However, I went to the range with a friend who is able to shoot this bow. This bow is too heavy for me, I'm not shooting this. And he was able, and he's a very good archer, he was able to go and shoot it at 30.5 inches from the back of the bow, getting with a 766 grain arrow, giving us, and so that's about 10.6 GPP at that point. That gave us 173 FPS across 10 shots, but 10 shots that were 173 FPS. So it's actually not that slow. It's faster than you think it would be given how large the seas are. Now, okay, let's move on to some issues with this bow that I cannot measure. I kind of have to go into this because these are things that I think are too large to ignore on this bow. I would like to go and stick to giving just measurements, but yeah. So, first thing is stability. Given how wide and how thick the limbs are, you would expect this to be a really stable bow. I am using only my wrist here. There's very little force behind this. It should not be twisting like that. That is scary. Yeah, so let's compare this with, I believe it's one here with the Hanwin 3, right? So let's look at Hanwin 3. I'm exerting more force onto Hanwin 3 than I did to the Con just now. The thing is, like, I couldn't even twist it because the limbs are so thin, and it just, like, wanted to, like, roll around in my hands, but, okay, let's look at this thing with the, Yuan Ming, right? Yuan Ming's got a layer of carbon in it, so I expect it to be more twist resistant. You can kind of see it is a little bit more, that it is more twist resistance, but I am able to get the twist. The Yuan Ming is significantly longer, and it's significantly thinner, and the limbs are narrower. Yeah, and finally, we have, like, the Paragon. Like, Paragon is also, like, longer, right? Because longer means more leverage, means that you can torque it harder, where it means that, like, that smaller force is required, right? And, like, I can still, I can't make any of these bows twist nearly as much as I could on the Con. That is kind of scary. It means that the Con is not very laterally strong. I highly recommend that, I don't know, then, like, dude, don't try to torque this bow. If you try to torque this bow really hard, I'm gonna be afraid that it's gonna de-string itself. I think that its construction could be improved a lot, maybe with, like, a layer of carbon or something inside. I'm not entirely sure on this, just off the top of my head. So now, also, I have a lot of complaints about the fit and finish of this bow. I don't really want to go and, like, make it too big of a deal, but, like, to put it plainly, like, the fit and finish on this bow is just not acceptable. Let me see if I can get to that side. First off, painting, right? Like painting is an option on the site, right? So there were so many issues with the painting that I stopped trying to go and take pictures of it, and I just, like, gave up and I was like, here's a couple. We'll just go through them. First off, over here, they're like just like random scratches over here. They came like that. They're random scratch like that too. There's an issue with the clear coat. That's also an issue that I'm gonna talk about. You can clearly see that none of these dots are aligned. Every single dot is a different distance from this line. These dots over here are uneven. There's like so it kind of looks like a scratch over here, but in real life, this is actually like a completely different brush stroke color. Not completely different color. It kind of looks like they went and like dragged the brush across it when it was wet, or just like used a different color brush or something. And I'm like, yeah, it just looks weird. The same thing again over here. Like this line over here is not centered. These dots over here are not centered. There are a couple instances along the gold script where the masking wasn't done very well. These dots aren't very consistent. Like, it looks cool from like further than 30 centimeters away, which is realistically what 99% of people are going to be looking at it from. But up close, the paint job is messy. Yeah, now, what did I say? Oh, right, clear coat. I don't think the clear coat in this thing is made out of paint. It is the thinnest clear coat that I've ever touched up. Like, look at this video. You can hear my nail clicking. You might have to turn the volume up, but you can hear my nail clicking across. I'll play it again. I have to remind you that, like, paint is kind of fake, right? In this video, you can kind of see, like, the edges of the paint being raised, right? I am almost absolutely certain, that if I put force at that nail, that paint would have came right off. There's basically no clear coat with this thing. Like, this thing is gonna rack up, like, scratches, like no tomorrow. If you get this bow, I highly recommend that you buy some clear coat of some kind. I'm not familiar with like clear coats used on bows, so you have to look into that and coat the hell out of this thing. Because from further than 30 centimeters, this is a beautiful bow. But that thing's gonna scratch real fast, especially because like a bow is something you take outside, you go into the woods with it, it's gonna get scratched up. Clear coat it, please. Okay. So what else is there? Oh, the race skin. Yes, the race skin is not sanded down. So you can kind of see it in this video, but like the race skin is just like lumps, right? So those lumps are going to sand your arrows down if you don't sand it down first. If you get this bow, I highly recommend that you sand it down somehow with whether it's with a Dremel, a file, or sandpaper. Get it real nice and smooth so that way it does not sand your arrows down. Because sanded arrows are unpleasant. Also, it smells really bad when your arrows get sanded down, trust me. Yeah, you don't want like sand, you don't want arrows like that. Alright, let's see, what's this next one? Oh yes, the seam along the handle is it's messy, right? Like, look at it. It's just kind of like glob of glue or something all along this line. It's not done cleanly at all. We can see that like Alimo or like AF or whatever, they like kind of wrap it around nicely. It's done better than this. Now let's look at the wrapping and limb. Wrapping and limb are also kind of inconsistently done. You can kind of see like there's gaps on both sides over here. You can see like the glue is just like kind of stilled out. Kind of looks like you didn't wipe the glue off. Yeah, it's also not good. And the last complaint that I have about this bow is the serving. Let's see. If you look in this video, it's in the play, there it is. So you can see like, so this one over here is a serving that came with the with the con, right? You can see that this thing is separated already. This Fun Palm string is brand new. This is my Tang Changshao's string. It was custom made and I've been shooting it for like, I don't know, 7 or 8 months. Yeah. This thing here, there's zero separation. There's zero separation. This is the Han. This is the string I came with the Han Wins 3. This bow has been used for like 2 or 3 years now. And it's been shot a lot, and the string is still in perfect condition. This is a new string. The string, yeah, it's not good. Yeah, so now the next thing that I have to say is that the bow saw ability is actually pretty cool. I quite like the bow saw ability. It's like some kind of like windbreaker kind of magician. I've never seen this in a bow saw. It's really cool. Now finally, yeah, okay, so just to recap, short bow, 173 FPS at 30.5 inches, 10.6 GPP, egg sheet candle, thick lips. Looks cool, clear coat needs work, thick and finish needs work. Yeah, that's it. Thank you for watching, and all the information in this video, or at least all the numbers, are available on my website, asiaticbow.info. And yeah, thank you for watching, and stay tuned for the next one.